Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot, oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls Radio. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and it is July 5th, 2023. And PK, you are roasting in Tucson. How are you doing?
Roasting? I feel like I've been put on a spit. It is terrible. That's all there is to it. They keep threatening us that it might rain, but then the next breath they tell us it's not going to.
Oh.
So we'll just have to deal with the heat and the fires going on around us.
Oh, goodness. Well, you stay safe, and I know this is a trying time of year, but we're always jealous of you in the winter when it's nice and warm there and we're freezing in New England. So it's a trade-off, that's for sure.
I'm going to say it's
tell
definitely a trade.
Yes. So what's going on with the numbers? Tell us where we are. We're in a new month.
Well, it's a brand new month, and this is the fun part. This month is all about major change. Good to bad, bad to good, but change nonetheless. In a year that says slow and easy, stop and think. But the month deals with a lot of changes, and the world's going to feel like it's going at warp speed at some points. So even to the point that the body feels like it's vibrating. In this month where we want to play and enjoy some major changes, and there's going to be some excesses. Could be a change in choices of foods, drinks, definitely driving too fast, vibrating. The mind doesn't stay still. That's part of it. The other part is all of a sudden we're going to be looking at our clothes, and you don't necessarily like what you're wearing. It may seem more dull. You're looking for something more vibrant, and you're going to feel like you need to add some different colors to your wardrobe. Just remember, it's only for this month, because the month is all about changes. So the major changes in your ideas or styles are going to be hard to deal with because the world is pulling us back, even though we want to go speed forward. And there's going to be some topics ongoing that's going to create some interest. So it's going to be a great time to start or create change. The month is about change and speed, that type of thing. But the key this month is using learning, teaching, and the spiritual side. That's going to assist us in opening doors. It's going to end up making the month a heck of a lot better, especially when it cools down here in Arizona. That's for right now.
Oh,
everything's
gosh,
about
I
the
know.
quick fix. But there's a luck factor that goes with this month. So don't forget that. If you've got an inkling that maybe I'll think I'll try the lottery or something, by all means, go right ahead. You stand a better chance with the 5 around than any other month. So even though
that's exciting.
It does stop and think for the year, but the year is giving us ideas and thoughts, so why not follow through with them? That's nice.
Exactly. What about starting new projects in this month? Is that a good time or not?
Definitely, because it's
this
all
month?
about change. Definitely
Okay.
this month. Throughout the year, but you've got the opportunity to pull some things together and to really make them work out. If you go for it this month, it's going to be fast and furious. But remember, the year itself says, slow down, think, use the noodle. You know what I mean? So that's more than anything else. Double check everything. Don't just go by the fly. But do watch your driving, though. This month is going to be more of a problem because everything is about speed. Everything's for the quick fix. Next month, different story. But right now, get all that stuff going and rev it up, get through it. Well, you've got the months to do it. I mean, after all, we're only a few days into this month, so you've got plenty of opportunity and choices to make and changes to make.
That is good. We'd like them all to be positive and helpful. So thank you
Of course.
for that. Yes, that's great. And I want to, again, direct everybody to our homepage because on our homepage we have all kinds of information about leading-edge health and wellness, treatments, technology, and we're going to have some more that we're going to introduce to you this month. So it'll give you some other things to consider, think about, maybe integrate into your own health protocol. And as you know, we're big proponents of take your health back, put it into your own hands. Don't get caught up in this medical system if you can help it. And you'll find everything on our website that we've found to be helpful. We are not selling these products, but they are on the website, and we've negotiated a discount for our audience members. So if you want to buy the liposomal liquid vitamins or the energy technology or the Weber technology or the water technology, it's all there at a discount to you. So any questions that you might have, you can contact those companies directly on our homepage, or you can send me an email. Happy to respond to you and answer your questions as best I can, or find somebody who can give you the right answer. So lots of stuff going on. I just want to mention I've had a lot of conversations lately with people about disclosure. It is heating up, everybody. There is such a jockeying for position. You know, who's going to own this at the end of the day? As we get more information, we'll bring it out to you. And it's just right now, it's one big melee. It is just everybody's fighting over who's going to own it. Very, very interesting to sit back, eat your popcorn, and watch. But be careful about who you are buying into. Some of these people are still not actually forthcoming. So we're going to try to get you the right information, as we always do on Supernatural Girls. So tonight, we have an excellent guest for you. And she's right from here in Massachusetts. Yes. And we have never, ever had a dowser, a professional dowser on our show. So this is a first for us. And this is a topic we've long discussed, but we haven't found the right person until now. And now we have her, and we're very excited to have her with us tonight. Susan McNeil Spuhler is an industrial and laser engineer. She's been dowsing for over 30 years, successfully finding wells for clients throughout the northeastern United States, as well as California, Wyoming, and Arkansas. She also finds lost items and clears geopathic stress from property. Now, Susan is the president of the Boston Dowsers, a life member of the Ozark Research Institute, and a member of the British Society of Dowsers. She's the co-director of the West Coast Dowser Conference and director of the newly resurrected Flagstaff, Arizona Dowser Conference. That was formerly known as the Southwest Dowser Conference. Now, Susan learned to dowse at Stonehenge, of all places. And this was by chance, as isn't that cool? There was a bus tour that had dowsing rods, and they were dowsing the stones. So Susan tried this activity, found she could do it. And it wasn't until she returned to work at MIT Lincoln Laboratory in Lexington, Massachusetts, and spoke to her fellow engineers that she discovered that she was dowsing. And dowsing is focused intuition. So, Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Patricia. Thank you, PK. It was a pleasure to be on your show tonight. Thank you. So dowsing being focused intuition, I use it for all sorts of different things throughout my life, and I use it to manifest everything, as well as find missing people, missing pets, missing items, and water wells. So I've been out there dowsing away, and I like to help people when they are, when I dowse a well for people, I also give them dowsing tools. I teach them to dowse in addition to finding their well site and telling them how many feet deep it is, and how many gallons per minute that they'll get from their property. If you go to the website of FlagstaffDowsers.com and then you click on speakers and you do a search for me, Susan McNeil Spuhler, I have a handout. I have a handout and a video to demonstrate, an 8-minute video demonstrating how to map douse a well, in addition to the handout that goes with that gives you the questions. Because you can't, when you're dowsing a well, it's not just going and saying, here, dig here. You want to know, I look for 10 things when I'm dowsing a well. I ask for potable water that tastes good, that smells good, that's there year-round. It's an appropriate depth, appropriate gallons per minute, easy for the well driller to get to, beneficial to all who drink it, that the water vein underground is going in the right direction, and that it's primary water. And primary water is deep water. When you have a well, you generally don't want to have it, you want to drill beyond 20 feet deep, because the first 20 feet are groundwater. And groundwater can contain fertilizer, gasoline, oil. And then when you're also, if you have property, when you have your property, you also want to make sure that the customer knows that they need to talk to their health department and that the driller will need to get a permit. They have to find out parameters for you. And before I douse a well, I make the customer go and find out what the town or city states with how many feet that the well has to be from a structure like a home or a farm or a barn, how far it needs to be from property line, from the street, from wetlands, from septic systems, and there could be other limitations. The city of Newton, they do not allow people to drill wells. However,
really?
And so I called the customer and I said, they don't allow wells. They said, we don't care. We want you to find us a place anyways. So I did, and I have no idea what they did.
How funny!
So,
gosh.
Well, the thing is, too, it depends on where places, get. Do they have an aquifer, which is basically like an underground lake, like the town of Westford, where I live? We have aquifers, and they don't care what you take out, but they're concerned about what you may be putting in when you drill your own well. We have a well, and we have septic, and generally those go hand in hand on property when you have a lot of land to build on. And then they require a minimum of 1 acre to build here in town, unless the builder has, like, say, 10 acres, and then can give half an acre to each home, and then the other 5 acres can go to open lands or open space. And Carlisle, they require 2 acres of land to build a home. So there's a lot of things that need to be considered when you're looking at putting a well into your property.
Yeah, there's a lot to this.
Right. So, and then, like I said, I like to teach people how to douse when I do this as well. Go ahead.
Susan, let me ask you a question about depth, because you just said it should be lower than 20 feet, so you're not picking up all of these contaminants and stuff. Is there an ideal depth for a well?
No.
So
depends on
anything
where you live. When Ed Stillman was drilling, when Ed Stillman lived in Sedona, and there was a well that he found that was over 1,000 feet. I think it was almost 1,500 feet.
Wow.
And so you're looking at, depending on if you have ledge, is there granite, what's underneath the ground, what are you drilling into?
Yes, right.
Around, here in Massachusetts, if you have, you'll probably, you want to, when you're drilling down, you eventually hit ledge or you hit some sort of rock, and then you don't need to have any lining for your. You just generally have to put pieces of pipe. They put pipe down until they hit a structure. So it's kind of like if you're putting something into sand, you have to have something sturdy to hold the sand away from falling into the well.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense.
So
yes.
So just depending on where you are, and there's some areas that I feel bad for people that they'll go and they'll build a house, they'll have a nice piece of land, and then they find out later on that they're not going to get very much water because their neighbors weren't considerate enough to come and tell them that, or their real estate broker or whoever sold them the property didn't tell them that, you'll be lucky to get water here. like Pelham, New Hampshire, they have a hard time with wells. Too.
Oh, no kidding.
So,
what's the problem? What's going on in that land area that makes it a problem?
Well, it's just the formation of the ledge that's there, and where the water
the ledge.
is just
okay.
really deep. And I was doing one development area, and there was a guy that had a brand new drilling rig, and I asked him, how deep are you? And he says, I'm at 2,100 feet. I said, why? And he said, it's a brand new rig. I just want to see how deep I can drill it. And it was one that went down 2,400 feet. And so he was basically just, drilling into this property that it wasn't a very big piece of property either. So he wasn't, helping his customer because the vibrations will also cause the water to dissipate. When you're building a home, you'd like to find the well site ahead of time, but you don't necessarily want to drill because you have all those trucks going over as they're building, and the vibration can dissipate the water. You want to wait until everything's done, but knowing that there is water there.
Susan,
it will divert the water.
Oh, okay. Well, when we were originally speaking about this, you also mentioned that there are some well drilling companies that are very adverse to working with dowsers. Even though you're a professional and you've been doing this successfully for such a long time, what is their issue?
Well, the thing is that they get paid by the foot, and if they're you'll look at some development areas. And I talked to other water dowsers around the country, and the wells, all of the wells in a development area may be, say, 600 feet. Yet a dowser will come in and find something at, say, 212 feet deep. So if I come in and say, okay, well, you only have to go 212, then that will be bad news for the driller because they won't have to they won't have to use very much casing, and then they also. Sometimes when you're drilling a well, you also want to ask your well driller if they're using what's called bentonite. And bentonite it comes in a big sack like cement does, and and then when they add water to it, it creates a slurry or a paste, a very loose paste, and they'll give bentonite to constipated horses, or if they use too much of it when they're drilling a well. For their lubricant, as opposed to just using water, then that will close off. It will temporarily close off any water veins. So they'll just keep drilling and drilling and drilling and drilling. And you may have hit water at 75 feet. However, they'll get down to say 375 or 425, and then all of a sudden say, "Oh, look at all the water that's coming in." Yeah, because it was coming in at 75 feet. They didn't need to drill that deep.
Wow.
So you need to be aware of what's going
dollars
on.
and cents.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's right. That's really good advice for people to really check into this a little more thoroughly, and not just go with what the well drilling company is going to do. That's also one of the great benefits of having a professional like you on site, so that because you've been able to predict and to show where to drill and how much water they're going to get.
It's not a prediction. I am dowsing. I'm not predicting. I'm dowsing.
Okay, so when you come up with this information, it's highly accurate. So people can really rely on this. I mean, this is very accurate because you're telling them how much water, is it per minute that they're going to get? Is that how you break it down?
Gallons per minute. Yeah, gallons per minute. So
that's incredible information.
I did a well site for the Saratoga Polo Club out in Saratoga Springs, New York, and I found them 125 gallons a minute. They were looking to build condos around. Do you know how many acres it takes for a polo game?
No, how many?
150 acres for a polo game.
Oh my goodness!
And they had 300 acres, so they could play 2 polo games at the same time.
Oh my goodness! Gosh. So this is a very exciting. Yeah, I didn't have any idea about that. But this is a very exciting career. But clearly, you have a talent for this, because when you went to Stonehenge, it sounds like this just came naturally to you. Did it?
Yeah, it came. Dowsing came to me. I didn't seek it out. However, I've always been highly intuitive. As a child, I would see, when I was waking up in the morning, I would see a test in front of me in my dreams, and then I would go to school, and then that would be the test would be there. So
wow.
Then I would make sure I'd study those questions if I didn't know the answers to them.
Gosh, how helpful is that, huh?
Well, I also took I went to my master's degree from Worcester Polytechnic Institute in Massachusetts, and I had very little time to take my GRE exam, my graduate register exam. I was working at the Charles Stark Draper Lab in Cambridge, and the only place that I could get take this test to be accepted into the program at Worcester Polytech was in Worcester. So I had to drive from Cambridge to Worcester, take the test, and get back. And my boss was, really hammering down on me about the time, and so what I did was I dowsed the entire exam. I looked at the computer screen. I had cameras on me, so I couldn't use any dowsing tools, and so I just fuzzied. This came to me as I'm taking the test. I fuzzied my vision, and whatever letter of A, B, C, D, or E, or whatever it was the brightest, then I would just click, and that would be the answer. And so I finished the test, and I passed it, and I graduated in 2000. So
fantastic. So you can use dowsing for so many things. Now, you have a number of tools. I know we saw them in the video. That's also posted on our Facebook page, by the way. So everybody, you can go to our Supernatural Girls Facebook page. I posted the video that Susan generously gave us so that you could see what it's like to actually go through a dowsing for a well. Now, but your tools, you have more than one that you use. Can you explain these tools to us?
Sure. I don't need any tools. I can look at a map and I can point and say, drill right here.
Wow.
And that's called deviceless dowsing. It's a knowing. So what I do is I'll first map dowse a property, and I'll use a ruler and a pendulum, and then I'll do this as a dog and pony show, because customers don't want you to just say, oh, here, hand me my. They don't want to just be told they need to pay you. They want to see. I want to show them what's going on. So I push the ruler up, and after I'm asking for the 10 things: the potable water that tastes good, that smells good, that's there year-round, appropriate depth, appropriate gallons per minute, easy for the well driller to get to, beneficial to all who drink it, is flowing in the right direction, and is primary water. And those are in my mind. And so as I'm pushing the ruler up the map, then my pendulum makes a reaction, and on the left side of the paper I'll make a tick mark, and then I'll keep pushing pushing the ruler up the page, up the map, and then make another tick mark and make several of those, and then I'll turn the map around 90 degrees, and then I'll follow each one of those tick marks across, and then I'll just follow the dots. So it makes kind of a, if you remember from algebra, y equals mx plus b, the rise over the run, and so you have a graph. You basically have a graph plots on your map to show you, okay, this is where the vein is, or at least one, and I'll ask if there's more than one, depending on how much property there is. And I'm always very considerate of where people need to build their home, because you have to run electricity to the well pump, and then to get it to the house. So, so what I do is I use the pendulum, and then I will I'll go out to the property. I'll use L rods, and I'll say, okay, show me where the water vein is, and then I'll have marker flags, and I'll place the flags. Where's the first edge of the vein? Place the marker flags on one edge of the vein. I'll say where's the other edge of the vein. So it's basically like an underground, we'll call it just an underground river or stream. And then where's the other edge, and I'll put the marker flags down. So then I have this path of marker flags, or surveyor's flags. And then I'll take my Y rods, and I'll walk along this path that I've made, and I'll ask, where's the best place to drill a well site? Where's the best place to drill a well along this vein? And then the rod will come down sometimes, 1, 2, 3 times, depending on what's underground, because you don't want to drill where you're going to hit a stump or roots or a rock or something like that. You want to make the best place possible for the driller to just easily go straight down.
Right. Right,
and
then
then
get a clear path.
And then they drill. Yeah.
Gosh,
so,
it's
there's
so
dowsing tools.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and so when I'm drilling, when I'm dowsing with the Y rod, when I'm asking where's the best place to drill, before that Y rod snaps down, I get a clenching in my gut.
Really?
So that's my body
okay.
reaction. And that's also something I get when I'm driving, when I'm speeding down the highway. I get a clenching in my gut, then I slow right down because then there's a state trooper somewhere along, not that far from me.
That's very helpful to know. Now, what materials are these tools made from? Are some materials better than others?
I make all my own tools. I make my my large and small L rods out of welding material, welding rods, and then the sleeves I'll make them out of copper tubing, refrigeration tubing. So I get from say Home Depot. Then I have my Y rods are made of polypropylene rods that I'll get from say like a company like Granger, and then I make them. They're about 2 feet long, and I'll use a piece of Tygon tubing at the end. That's to the polypropylene is a 1/4 inch wide, and so that makes a total of a 1/2 inch. And so then I get a 1/2 inch inner diameter of a Tygon clear tubing that's flexible. I put it on the end, and I take hot glue, and I just put the hot glue inside, and then it holds them together. So there are other ones over the years I've had that have a very pointy end on them, and then they've snatched back up into my face, and I've had safety glasses on, and they've scratched my safety glasses, so I don't want to torture people with scratches. So, and I make bobbers out of the same material, and that's why deviceless dowsing is so handy, as you don't need any tools.
Do you always use the pendulum first?
Do I always?
Do you always use the pendulum first when you start looking at the property?
No, I just look at a map and I know. I just look
at
the map
and I just
know where the water is. I don't need anything. I just look at it and I just point. When I first started with the Boston Dowsers, we had there was a golf course that had approached a member of the chapter, and there was an older gentleman named Frank Butler, and the whole chapter was standing around this giant table, big giant banquet table, with a map of 250 acres of a golf course. And he used to always talk out of the side of his mouth. He wore a suit and tie and a fedora, and he said, "Hey kid," and he elbows me. He says, "Where's the well site?" And I pointed right there because everyone else was yakking. I said, "It's right there." And he says, "How many gallons a minute?" And I told him, and he says, "How deep is it?" And I told him. He says, "You're right." He says, "You're coming with me." So from then on, I would go on jobs with. I'd go on jobs with him, from there. Yeah, and then as he got older, I would then take him with me, because he was, it was hard for, he was getting up into his high 80s. So, but he was always very good to me, and it's always good to have a mentor.
Nice.
And I've tried to mentor many people over the years, and I just said, "Oh wow, this is a lot of work," because sometimes you have to hike, and you have to. I've been to Martha's Vineyard, I've been to Nantucket, I've been all over the place, and I have a pair of, Barbour BARBOUR boots from Orvis, and they're a knee-high rubber boot because when you're on Martha's Vineyard, there's tons of ticks, so you want to make sure you're protecting yourself.
Oh,
when you're going out in fields, because some people will have already cleared their area for their home, but other times they don't. They say, "Well, I want you to find my well site first before I start to drill, before I start to build and pour my foundation." And so sometimes you're going into some really what.
I was going to say, can you do some of this via the map prior to seeing the property? Can you use the map only?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I map dowse. I'll map dowse it for them ahead of time, and I'll just, and then depending on where they are. Actually, there's a couple I did it. Where do they live? They're in Arizona, and we both have a program. It's an app that hunters use, and so we happen to have the same app. So I told them, I said, I'm dowsing this for you here on the map, and I gave them the longitude and latitude, and then I had them go out there themselves, and then longitude and latitudinally to find the spot, and because they were just, And they're coming to our conference that we're having in Flagstaff in October to confirm all this. So.
And
amazing.
and our friend Tom Dongo, remember Tom PK? We've had him on several times. He is going to be there as well.
Yeah,
so
Tom's an old
friend
of mine.
Him.
Oh,
Yeah, he knows
He
knows where there's a lot of interesting spots in Arizona. I know he was sharing a lot of that with us last time. It was fascinating, portals and time warps and all kinds of things. So, but yeah. Now, let me ask you: when it comes to a portal or something, metaphysical like that, do you sense it differently, or is it just the same as it would be with a well? You're just asking for something different.
You're asking, and it's focused into it. You're asking the right. When you're dowsing, you have to ask the right question. You can sit there and say, "Is it going to rain?" Well, sure, it's going to rain, but when? Or just you have to look at, can I douse? May I douse? Should I douse? You want to make sure you have permission, because if you're asking, "Gee whiz, how much does my best friend have in a bank account?" None of your business. Okay.
Right.
So, so you're looking at permissions. You're looking at ethics. You're looking at what are you trying to do here? So when you're dowsing, you want to make sure you're asking the correct questions. And we have like little side classes at the conference that we teach people how to ask the right questions when they're trying to find something. That's why I have the 10 statements. They're on the handout that people can access, because that's exactly what I'm looking for. Not all well dowsers look for those things. They just say,
right.
It's a water.
Fascinating.
But you don't want water. No. Like if you're out in the Hudson Valley, you'll have a lot of water that has a lot of it smells like sulfur, and you don't want the smell of rotten eggs.
Oh God, no.
That would be horrible.
Right.
Now you mentioned, right, Susan. You mentioned that when you've been on certain properties where there are portals, that people have asked you to close them up. Can you tell us about that?
That was here in Massachusetts. As a customer of mine, I had found a well site for her, and then apparently there was a portal that was in her home, and it also was in her daughter's room. And her daughter had a lot of nightmares and a lot of disturbances in her life, and she just she asked me if I would. She asked me what could be done about it, and I said, well, we can, with our intention, we can close it so that it never appears to it never harms anyone ever again.
Oh, that's good. So you were able to do that. And now, what about missing people? That's a really interesting subject. So who calls you in, number one, and then how do you do that?
Well, the thing is that I don't watch the news anymore before I go to bed, because if I flash somebody and says, oh, this woman this person is missing, and then when I go to sleep, I will relive their death.
Oh.
They're choked or horrible things happen, so I don't watch the news anymore. So when there's missing people, sometimes like people want to commit suicide, and they by having an intention by putting just by stating I don't want to be found, they won't be found. Okay, so that's where it will make it hard to find people at times.
Okay.
Other times they may be murdered. I have a friend out in Minnesota that's he's a well dowser, and he helped the police find a body. And what happened was the murderers threw the body into the river, and then the river rose up, and then the body ended up in a cave along the river, and he found it. And then nobody knew but the police. And then he started getting death threats. His family started getting death threats because of that.
Oh no! Oh no!
Well, if you think about it, how much of a threat you would be to somebody if the police used you to find whatever. Harold McCoy from the Ozark Research Institute, a woman came to him, and this is a well-known case. Her daughter's, I believe it was a violin, was stolen, and he mapped out exactly where it was at a building in San Francisco, The police went there, and that's exactly where it was.
Oh, fantastic. Gosh.
So
incredible.
So the thing is that, people have come to me and said, oh, teach me how to find missing children. I said, why? Well, I want to be a hero. It's like, no, that's not the right reason for wanting to do something like this. You want to do it for the highest good, and then you want the parents harassing you constantly, where's my child, when you don't know what exactly, you may know exactly what happened to the child, but they need to come to you. You don't go to them, because if you go to them, then you're a suspect. So,
that's right. Yes, that does happen. Yep. Now, have you worked with any of the 411 cases? David Pilates, Can-Am, missing 411?
No.
Yeah, those are quite mysterious, and David, being a former police detective, doesn't offer any explanation. He just reports the cases.
I've dealt with him, and I don't know. No.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big mystery that a lot of people are talking about, but nobody seems to have any answers. So I was wondering about that.
And he won't say either.
No, he won't. He really...
No, so anyways, moving right along. There's deviceless dowsing. You can, as I was talking about deviceless dowsing before when I dowsed the test, you can if you're talking to somebody, you can be rubbing your tongue on the roof of your mouth and say to yourself, show me yes. Then keep rubbing your tongue on the roof of your mouth and say, show me no. Were they different? Did you feel it different? Okay.
Yes.
So if I'm interviewing someone, or if I'm interviewing for a job and I'll ask a question, I'll be rubbing my tongue on the roof of my mouth, and if I start getting a rough, my yes is smooth and my no is rough. And so if it starts to go rough, I'll ask the question again. And if it still goes rough, I'll ask the question yet again a different way, and then it's clear to me that this person is lying to me, and that's the end of the interview.
Amazing. Wonderful. You can tell that.
And you could also, do I push down on, as you see on the video, I'm pushing down with my pointer finger on my thumb plate of my right thumb. You can also take your pointer finger and then rub it using your thumb like a thumb plate. You rub it on there, and you say, show me yes, and my yes is smooth, and show me no, and my no is sticky.
Thank goodness.
You could also do blink dowsing. You can stare in the corner. We could stare at a corner of a room and say, show me yes, and then show me no, and my yes, my eyes stay open, and my no, my eye blinks immediately.
So you have a lot of different physical cues that you can rely on if you want to give you the right answer. Yeah. Wow, that's excellent. Well, we're going to take a very short commercial break, everybody, and then we will be back and talk more about missing items and pets and everything dowsing when we come back. Again, we are talking tonight with Susan McNeil Spuhler, and it's all about finding things with the science of dowsing. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
The health benefits of sunlight to our body are well known. Light energizes, light lifts your mood, and light can heal. What if all these benefits were combined into one portable device that you can use in the comfort of your home? The German medical device manufacturer Weber Medical has recently launched the Endolight Band. The Endolight Band looks like a smartwatch, but does so much more. This revolutionary band is equipped with true laser diodes that irradiate the circulating blood via your arteries. Each color provides its own powerful benefits. Red and infrared light deliver energy and regulate your immune system and blood pressure. Yellow is a real mood booster and improves sleep quality. Green impacts oxygen supply, and blue has anti-inflammatory effects. The Endolight Band has 3 programs. Recharge helps you start your day with energy. If you want to unwind and clear your head after a busy day, select Relax. When you need full support, select Recover, activating all diodes at the same time for the full range of effects. Improve your well-being at the touch of a button. 30 minutes per day gives you the advantage, and there are no side effects. Let the Endolight Band bring you a healthier life. Order now at www.wmedicalsystems.com. That's www.wmedicalsystems.com.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We are speaking about dowsing tonight with expert Susan McNeil Spuhler. Susan, we were going to talk about missing pets. Now, that must be a very rewarding type of thing when you can find somebody's pet that's gone missing.
Yeah, I make them find them themselves. I tell them where to go, and if they go when I go, tell them to go. And then there are also people I've learned to ask the question: do you want your pet back? Because one woman wasted weeks and weeks of one of my dowser friends' time up in Vermont because the woman just wanted to be able to visit the cat. She didn't want the cat back.
Oh,
for heaven's sake! My goodness.
Oh my goodness.
So that's all about asking all the right questions. I've like finding missing items for a home for a woman. She lost her 5-carat diamond. I said, it's in your kitchen. No, it's not, she said. It's in my bedroom. I said, it's in your kitchen. And I kept dowsing. And then she finally, she said, well, I give up. And I said, it's in your kitchen. Call me when you find it in your kitchen. So the next day, she called me and told me it was in her kitchen.
Oh my goodness!
It was above the faucet on the shelf in a little ceramic shoe, because that's where she took it when she washed her hands, and she just would not listen to me. I said, it's right.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Anyways, so that's where
I'm. If a person's missing something, like my earrings, and I don't know for sure whether it's in this state or another state, what information would I have to give you to be able to locate what we're looking for?
Well, normally a picture. I mean, when WGBH Channel 2 was missing 37 videotapes, I dowsed which building. They have 2 warehouses about the size of football fields each, and many, many stories high. So they told me it was on the tapes. Exactly. They told me exactly what they thought was on the tapes, and I kept finding tapes that had that information. And then I finally said, do you have a tape that is part of the series? And they did. And then I put it under my arm, and I used my L rods, and as long as it took me to walk to the right, down the right aisle, and then off to the right, and then down the the back of the shelves, that's where the box was, mismarked. People had looked for months and months, and I found them, for them. So having a witness
goodness.
of what it is. Like,
so what type of information?
You lose, huh?
What type of information will I have?
So if you lose one earring and you have the other earring in your hand, you're not thinking about it. When you're dowsing, you're not thinking, okay? You're feeling.
Right.
So if something is missing, I'll say, is this item inside of the house or is it outside of the house? And if it's inside of the house, I'll say, is it in the basement, on the first floor, second floor, up in the attic? And then go from there. And then you're asking the right question, and then you go from there.
So it's best give you a call, make an appointment with you, right?
So when I misplaced, I moved to a new apartment. I misplaced my mink earmuffs, and I went to. So I went from room to room. So now I'm late. I'm very time efficient, and I just stay in one place and I just ask yes or no. So I walked into my different bedrooms and I walked from the kitchen into the dining room, and my rods immediately swung to the left, pointing to my hope chest, and that's exactly where I had put the mink earmuffs, because the cedar, it was a cedar hope chest, so then that way the bugs wouldn't eat my earmuffs.
Fantastic.
And then sometimes we can't find things, and then you find them like a day later or hours later, because you're in a different vibrational rate than the item that you were looking for, and you need to get into harmony with that item or items.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, it is.
Now, Susan, how can people get a hold of you so that they can make appointments with you and have you douse for them?
My information's on the Flagstaff Dowsers Conference website, flagstaffdowsers.com, and then if you go to speakers, I'm listed in there.
Okay, so your contact information is there. It's also in the description of the show on Blog Talk Radio, so you can find Susan's phone number and email address there. So, because I know I'm getting a lot of text messages. People are very interested in finding lost things. So this will be a lot of fun.
The thing about the finding lost items that you don't, what if they're stolen? What if the item was stolen by somebody? That's something.
Yeah, what about that?
People don't think about. People come in your house. I once had a party, and I took my earrings and my wedding bands off, and I set them on the counter, on the table, on the kitchen table, and it was my girlfriend and her 10-year-old son. And I couldn't find my diamond earrings for the life of me. And a couple of days later, she called me and says, "Come to my office." She says, "I am so embarrassed. My son picked up your diamond earrings, and she gave them to me because she thought because they were pretty, and he thought I'd like them."
Oh, no. My goodness. Well, at least you got them back, and she was honest. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, it was one of those really, luckily, you're right. I mean, but you don't know. It's like if you're, whatever it is that you're looking for, and then why and how important is it to you, and you can find it yourself. This is why I teach dowsing. This is why we teach dowsing to people. They can do it themselves. And so as for rinsing people, you need to be approached to do that yourself. You can't just come up with it. And then lost pets. Sometimes pets want to go on an adventure, or they'll get away from a thunderstorm. And then if I know the person's house, I'll look at their front door, and then I'll sit and douse what direction. I'll know what direction their house is facing, and then I'll douse what direction the dog or whatever the animal's in, and then tell them how far it is from the house. And I said, "You have to go right now." And then they found their pets under those circumstances.
Wow. What about, you've mentioned that sometimes people really don't want their pets back full time, like the lady that just wanted to visit the cat. But what about sometimes pets don't want to come back to their owner? Do you ever encounter that?
Well, that's because those are the questions. Those are the questions that I ask. First of all, is the animal alive? Or sometimes my friend lives next to a senior citizen center, and one of her cats will, if you leave your car open, her cat would go in, sleep in the backseat of a car, of an open car. And then the cat would be, and they'd find the cat, the next town over, because the person lived the next town over. And then, so the cat was alive and was brought back home. And then so now they leave signs up to say, check your back seat before you leave, make sure these are my cats, these are my two cats, and, kick them out of the car. Now we have a listener that has a question, Susan, so let me get them live on the air so they can ask their question. Hang on a second. Yeah.
Hi, you're live on the air. What's your name?
Hi, it's Pat. Enjoying the show.
Pat.
Hi, two quick questions. My son I've been trying to tell my son to douse. He was given land by in-laws, and they have to survey it. And I think he told me they surveyed it, to find water or whatever. Is it still advantageous to go ahead and douse, or is it just when you don't have those means?
Well, what are you trying to do with the land? How many acres is it? Is he gonna build on it? Is he gonna?
Yeah.
If you're gonna.
Yes.
Then they should douse it if they're looking for water, and make sure that they're getting appropriate water, like on the handout that I'm telling people to go to.
Okay. So, but when the company comes and lets you know, well, I don't know enough about this. The second question is, do fairies ever play with you and hide things and then bring them back so you can find them, which I am pretty sure happened to me?
Yes, I look upon it as, that you're in a hurry or you're upset, and so you're not in harmony with your surroundings, you're not in harmony with the item, and is it to your highest benefit to then have that item at that moment in time? Like, you need your keys. We've had dowsing chapter meetings, and I've had one of my officers was starting to get dementia, and I couldn't find my keys, and I'm looking and I'm holding my hand up and dowsing. I said, Alice, do you have my keys? And she did. I put them in my pocket. I'm sorry.
Oh my.
So another way to
goodness.
douse with your hands is like how a balloon feels between the palm of your hands, how it has a pressure. You could use your hands to douse, like for water veins or other things that way as well. But you're saying, you were talking about, Pat, are you talking about a well driller coming to drill?
I don't know enough about this. They got some land, so they have to survey, and something about finding water. Do they need to do that? Are they required to do that by the town? I don't know. But I was telling him,
depending on what state do they live in?
Massachusetts.
Oh, they're in Massachusetts too. Okay. So, for example, in Oregon, you cannot get a mortgage unless you have water for if you're going to build a house.
Sounds right.
So in Massachusetts, depending on what city or town they're in, is going to depend on the health department, and the planning board may play a part in this as well. As to, like I said, I live in Westford. You have to have an acre of land to build a house, and the well driller may just drop their thing and go to town and drill to get 800 feet when they only needed to really go 123 feet.
Okay, so it might benefit him to douse, which I'm trying to tell him to do.
Well, does he douse?
No, but he knows he's got a crazy mom. Sometimes he believes me.
Well, the thing, don't say that about yourself. It's not. This is what animals do. This is what people have done for hundreds of years. And unless he knows what he's doing, it's going to cost. It costs like $20,000 to $75,000 to drill a well. You don't just go out and do. You don't just go out and do it.
Right.
At least I wouldn't. But No. Unless I knew what I was doing. No. But then, so that's when you consult the experts in whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, and whatever it is you're doing. So, so you want to make sure you get the best water, and you want to, are they going to put in septic? Have they started to build? If they haven't started to build yet, they have to look at all of those. You have to talk to the health department, find out what all the parameters are that they need to put in a well. How far it needs to be from wetlands, from your septic, from a structure, your neighbors. Because up in Maine, in Buxton, Maine, there was an area where it was a big rectangle. It used to be a farm, and these houses were all right next to each other along the road. And then you would get you'd have like 50 feet. Your property would be about 50 feet wide, and then it would be like a quarter mile back. And you only had to be 10 feet from your neighbor's septic system. So their neighbor's septic was right up near the front, right near the road. And then I said, well, I'm not going to find you a well close to the septic system. I'm going back there. I'm going back towards the back of your property, keeping in mind that you're going to have to run electricity to it. But I think you'd rather pay a little more to have electricity run to pump your well than to have any residue from your neighbor's septic.
Right, right.
So
good point. Well, it must be really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Pat, you should make sure that your son has the contact information for Susan, because that way she can make sure it's done right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly.
Great.
Well, thank you for your call.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks so much.
I'm sorry, Pat, did you have a question? Did you have one more thing to say?
Do you have to come to the land, or can you do this remotely?
Well, Massachusetts is a small state. Where does he live? Where's the property?
He is lower western area, the Berkshires area.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I live in Westford.
That's where I am.
Right near. Yeah.
You live where?
I'm about 25. I'm in West. I'm 20. I'm 25 miles west of Boston.
What's the town that he's in, Pat? What town is he in?
New Marlborough.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the town moderator out there. I was town moderator myself. So yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Okay.
So
I'll pass it on to him.
Thank you, Pat. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat.
Oh,
thank you.
I love your show, Supernatural Girls. I just love you guys. Great show. It's unique and wonderful, and you hosts are really terrific too. Very positive women.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Pat. That's so sweet.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Great. So right there, you may be able to help her son with this new property. How exciting!
Yeah. Sure.
That is great.
If people want to work with charts, that's another thing. There's a website called subtil.net, subtil.net. You can draw and create your own maps. It's a program. It's a software. It's easy to do. It's a website that's out there for free. So.
And what does that give you?
Practice. What's the dowsing chart? You mean?
Yeah.
Well,
that means you can just map it out.
If you look at the handout that I have, I made my maps. I made my charts off of that website.
Oh,
you can put all sorts of information on it. Yeah.
Well,
and so people want to. I'm sorry. If people want to practice with their dowsing, you want to take a deck of cards and then put a black card face up, a red card face up, put your palm of your hand over each one, see how it feels, and then turn it over and then see how it feels, if it's hot or cold or vibrating or whatever. And then you shuffle the deck and you put a card down face down, and then you put your hand over it and see what it feels like. Then you put it in what you think is the black one pile, and then the other pile. So then when you're done after doing about 10 cards that way, then you turn them over and see how correct you were with your intuition with your cards, your deck of cards.
That sounds like fun too. Yeah. Now you have this event coming up in October. Tell us a little bit more about it. What can people expect if they go to the event in Flagstaff?
The Flagstaff Dowsers Conference is there's 4 classes simultaneously 4 times a day for 3 days, and the event is October 4th to the 10th. The FlagstaffDowsers.com is the website, and there's beginner dowsing classes and advanced dowsing classes, and the core of the conference is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have opening and closing ceremonies. We have our keynote speaker is Graham Gardner from Scotland. He was the prior president of the British Society of Dowsers. On the Monday, we have half-day workshops and full-day workshops. And then Tuesday, that's the Wednesday before, and the Tuesday after, we have private trips to Sedona. It's about a 45-minute ride. The transportation is provided for everybody, and then we go to private areas that the public does not go to feel the vortexes and to feel the various types of energy. So you're getting a great deal of all sorts of classes that working with labyrinths. We make a labyrinth, and we have the self-balancing, working with your subconscious, clearing yourself, clearing property. There's active ascension portals that we'll be talking about. You'll learn how to bend spoons. There's all sorts of fascinating ways to use dowsing. We have several classes that you'll learn how to douse for water as well. I have the best dowsers, the best water dowsers there at the conference. And
how much does it cost for people to attend this entire workshop? There's a lot going on. It sounds great.
Well, the thing is like the conference itself, the 3 days, is $370, and the price goes up at the towards the beginning of October. I'm sorry, towards the beginning of August to $450, and then we have workshops that are half day that are $75, and then full day are $150. These are all very, very reasonably priced.
It sounds that way.
And so,
if someone contacts you for assistance from you, what do you charge for finding items and such?
Well, it depends on what it is, and if I even think that it's, viable to even work on it.
Okay.
So,
good to know.
But normally depends on how much of a, some kits cost. I'll charge when I douse wells. It's $200 an hour for my travel time and my, my work time. But then you learn how to douse. You get dowsing tools, which is, who gets, how do you get that? You normally have to go places to learn how to douse and get things like that. So, but on all the money that I get from all these things go towards the conferences, go towards scholarships. We have a children's. We also have a young adults program at the conference as well on the weekend. And everyone's that teaches that program is fully vetted out in Arizona. Like we have the Quarry test here in Massachusetts, and they're vetted out there in Arizona through the Sheriff's Department.
Good to know.
Well, this has been, tremendous, Susan. Thank you. This has been just so wonderful to have you on the show and learn so much in such a short period of time. And Flagstaff event sounds incredible. So we'll continue to talk about it on the show so people can remember to book their travel reservations. And PK, you have a huge following out in Arizona, so you may have some people that want to go that are already in the area.
I'll be posting it on my site as well for you.
Thank you. There's the Tucson Dowsing chapter, and that meets monthly online, and so I'm affiliated with them, and I sponsor a lot of their shows as well. So I've been on their show. I teach manifest. I've taught. Yeah.
It's been a few years since I've been able to be out and about, but I did a talk with them about 3 years ago, and it's a wonderful group here in town. So that's good to know.
Yeah, a lot of them come up to the conference, and then I taught. I was on their show. I was in their meeting, and I taught manifestation. So you can create your own reality. I have everything I've ever wanted, and then some. So more to share and more to spare. So you can create your own reality there, Pat, and don't have to. I'd like you to say something, Tricia. I'd like you to repeat after me. I have more money. I'm telling you, Pat. Patricia, is she there?
Yeah, I'm right here. We'll both say this.
Okay, I want you to repeat after me, and I want you to tell me how it feels. I have more money than I could ever possibly spend.
I have more money than I could ever possibly spend. PK, join in.
I have more money than I could ever possibly spend.
It sounds great to me. Yes.
Okay, then nothing should ever get in your way, and you should be able to do everything you want to do. I do.
Yes.
That's a great, and you feel
great affirmation.
You feel worthy, and as long as you feel worthy of it, that's an issue that a lot of people will have. They don't feel worthy.
Yeah. No,
so they live
that's true.
They don't live in. They need to live in abundance.
Live in lack.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is great. Well, again, Susan, thank you for such a wonderful time this evening. Great information for all of our listeners. Very, very helpful. So thank you. Good luck with the Flagstaff conference. I know PK will be talking about it in her area, and we'll be talking about it on the show again as well.
Hopefully you can come up and join us. We have a wonderful time. It's a very loving group of people, the Dowsers are. So, yeah.
Sounds wonderful. It sounds terrific. Really does.
Well, thank you very much for having me on the show. And there's a lot of people.
Thank you. It's been a delight.
Yeah, it's been absolutely great, Susan. Thank you very much. And everybody will be back next week with another great show. And until then, we will see you on the Blue Highway. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural.